I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I sat here for almost an hour trying to think of a very witty intro for this. I thought I would start off with a joke. I thought I would start off with something very serious. I thought I would start off with facts. But ultimately, I just kind of came to one conclusion. 2021's kind of fucked up, yeah? Now, I'm not trying to say that everything is fucked completely. However, if we're going to be honest, there's a lot of things that could have started off a little better. There's an abundance of people who believe that 2020 was the reason why everything was bad, and that 2021 will be the year that everything changes. It didn't happen like that, did it? Now, we're not going to go over everything that happened because there's an abundance of stuff that I don't even want to touch. Not because I don't know what to say, but that's not up to me to influence you on how you should feel about obvious situations. However, there's going to be a bit of my telling to tell you what impacts me, and hopefully you have something that's relatable. Like, for instance, this is just an opinion of mine, so please don't take this as I'm reading it for someone else. But I believe that everything that happened the other day was a good thing. Not because it happened, but because it forced an agenda that we have been trying to get people to understand. I can't tell you how long. It doesn't feel good to have people represent you that you want nothing to do with, does it?
It's Levin. Yeah. They don't speak to me unless you tone nice. Like my liquor brown and chased with no ice. Okay, maybe just a cube or two. Hennessy's the usual. Lemon squeeze around the rim, but tonight needed suitable. Gold slugs in a tailored suit. Gold nut, pinky finger. Ooh, you try to show fake love, but we ain't amused. So we show.
Welcome to True Equality, where there are people that make you look bad, that don't represent you, and yet these are the only people who are around to represent you. I believe I made a reference to this in earlier videos. See, the funny thing about being me is that I can speak as a black person. But the one thing that I can't stand is when people try to get offended on my behalf. Now that we're done with that, we're going to continue on with now. See, this is not a I told you so type of thing. But I told you so. I told you that you should not feel comfortable with just feeling emotion and just doing things. Instead, I really tried to push on the side of urgency to get better. However, people don't like to get better. They just want things to change, but don't really know how to make things change. Here's a fun fact. Why don't you try changing you, and then the next person would change them, and then the following person would change themselves? And if we keep doing that, maybe the world will look like it's a better place. But until then, we have to look at the positives. Now, there are positives that happen, don't get me wrong. For instance, white people now understand what it looks like to have other white people make them look bad. Let me introduce you to something. It's called perspective. We're all a little racist. Just a little bit. I don't know if you guys have ran into this, but every time I go out, every time I go to the store, every time I go to the gym, instead of people trying to skip me, there are some unfamiliar faces that are like, hey, you can go in front of me. Hey, I'll take care of this. Hey, you look great today. Thank you. The other day I was at the store and I had about 7 or 8 items in my arms, and a new register opened up. Now, there was a lady with 2 buggies with her, and she was already in that lane, but she knew I was sitting there waiting. So she went over to me, and instead of rushing to the new register, she blocked off everybody else. And she was like, sir, you can go in front of me. I'm like, are you sure? You know, I'm all flabbergasted. Are you sure? She's like, yes. God bless you. Okay, cool. I'm at the gym. I'm waiting to get on some equipment. A dude who usually hogs everything. He sees that I'm waiting. He's like, bro, you can take it. Are you sure? He's like, yeah, it's cool. We're cool, right? Yeah. Instead of it being the way that it usually is, which is you kind of feel some racial tension
from everybody,
even if it's not exactly there, because most black people are paranoid. Let's be clear. They're now being overly nice because they're trying to go the extra mile to say, hey, we're not them. Now, this seems very familiar to me because I've been doing this my entire life. Every day I've tried to wake up and be a little bit better than I was yesterday and even better tomorrow. Whatever it is that I do, it takes one time for me to fuck up, and everything I've worked on is gone. I can't tell you if everyone who is not a minority experiences it the same way, and we have a lot of results that can prove quite the opposite. However, for those that understand that there is a stigma about when people look like you and do things that you don't condone, but you are not there to defend yourself.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Chivalry. You know how much this coat cost me? I know, that's good to talk about how much stuff costs, but it cost me a lot of money. I'm rushing, I'm doing everything, and the wedding ain't even started yet. Why is she wearing white? You know she got 3 kids.
There is a little more understanding nowadays. Now, I'm not gonna say things that happened at the Capitol were not disgusting, because they were, and there's a lot of it that should be poo-pooed. However, we as minorities cannot embody that type of energy and say, you know what, this is why we're gonna be like, fuck them. I'm not saying you physically can't do that, but you shouldn't. That type of energy is how we got started. We didn't get here by somebody stepping on your J's and you getting pissed off and want to fight them in the club. That's not how we got here. We didn't start off with this because somebody took your girl, because it's been years and years and years and years of things that we just kind of sweep under the rug. We kind of digress from everything that kind of makes us feel uncomfortable, because in reality, you don't want to look in the mirror at yourself. So, what do we do in the meantime? Well, we pretend that you're a better person than you are by not acknowledging the actual issue. I love things that don't make sense. Not because they don't make sense. I love things that I have to figure out because there's something about it that has to be so abundantly obvious that everyone else is overlooking, or you're just a fuck. Most people would just label you as a fuck. For every gruesomely mean person, they're really super sensitive. For every person who is huge, they just want to be left alone. And for every small person, they want to be big and loud. Little dog syndrome. I wish that everyone had the same type of energy as those who want to make the world better. Now, that's a very dangerous line, because people's version of making the world better, their version is I'm right. Now, no matter what you say, I'm right, and if you just do what I say, everything will be better. But ain't that how the bulk of your relationships went? Am I the only one that heard that line, that if you just did what I say, everything would be good? Is it just me? I wish that everybody felt the type of love that you see sometimes in movies and sometimes in politics. I wish that everybody loved one another like Bush loved Miss Obama. However, we can't really hope for things to change unless we start changing ourselves, because everyone wants things to be different, but they don't know how. For the 1000th time, I wish that people will understand that if you was black yesterday and you're black today, that means you're gonna be black tomorrow. Just because someone is not abundantly racist does not mean that they're not racist. It just means that it's not so bad. You kind of have to have a tolerance for some of this thing, yeah? And for most people, their tolerance is very, very thin, and with good reason. But we have to err on the side of awareness. We cannot go out here just fucking shit up and expect for things to be better for tomorrow, because that's the same energy that got us here. It just had a different host. There are some people who looked at what happened at the Capitol and believe that things happened the way that they were meant to happen. And for those who say that, you are right. It was meant to happen that way. That's not saying that it always happens the way it was meant to. No one actually wanted people to die and to get beaten up. We just wanted you guys to feel the same energy that we get all of the time. If we got treated better, we will want you to be treated better. And if we get treated poorly, well, everyone wants to hurt ex-girlfriend. Does that make sense? I'm not saying that the world isn't fucked. Quite frankly, I'm all for the hits. However, I just want you guys to understand that you cannot be mad at anger. I hope that did not go past your brain. Did anything really change? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. Right now, down is up is right, black is white. And that's alright. I was not trying to rhyme there. I just want you guys to be safe. I don't want people who look like me to speak for me. Clearly, I have issues with that. I need us to get a little better at this. The shenanigans will continue. I have some skits and things lined up for you guys, so I hope you guys stay tuned. And for the love of God, can we please not forget that we are in the middle of a pandemic, so maybe energy is a little high. But it doesn't mean that that's your excuse to act like an ass.
be more than cars and money. You attract more flies.